All right, here are the three basic, all the transformations are listed here. Obviously, changing the amplitude is a translation because that actually becomes a vertical stretch or a vertical compression. That's what A does. You've seen it when you graph the other ones. We had some really small ones that were low. Then we had some that were really stretched out. Then we had some that was even stretched out more horizontally. That happened from the B. That was your horizontal compression or stretching. So we did those already. H stands for your horizontal translation. H, I think I'm going to mention it over here in a minute. Yeah, I will. You're still talking back there.
K, kinetic.
K, no, stands for your vertical translation, up and down. So up and down. Whatever you see with K, if K is negative, then you know you're going down. If K stays positive like this plus in front, you know when I said negative, you can say plus a negative number. You can say that. That means K is negative. Or you could just say minus K, and still K is negative.
I learned K was kinetic.
And then the H, there's always a minus in front. But if H is negative, it would look like this. Minus a negative H. If H was negative, you would have two minuses, which turn into a what? So when you see plus H, then you know it was actually going to the left.
Isn't that negative?
Nope.
Positive.
Remember before, even with all the other functions we had done, the number inside the parenthesis, we always think the opposite. It's because there's always a negative built in. But if the H is negative, what happens? Those two negatives turn into positive. So you're still going to go left. Now, if your H is positive already, then negative of a positive is still minus. That's how you know you'll go to the right. All right, so we'll talk about this over here.
Where does this black stuff come from?
If the H is positive, then what you're seeing inside the trig function is x minus
Hey, sir, I think your printer exploded on my paper.
the what?
I got a bunch of black stuff on my paper.
Well, if you don't like it, get a clean one. You don't have to interrupt my teaching. Go get one.
Give me a second cleaning.
A positive K, it really doesn't matter what's in here. It would literally be a plus K. That's what you would see. That means down or up. This one is up K units. If your K is negative, then it doesn't really matter about what's inside here. You would literally see a minus of a K. That would mean down K units. That's your vertical, up and down. The harder part, I guess I didn't fill in these blanks. H represents a horizontal. I guess since I already talked about them, I didn't think about these blanks. Horizontal shift, and the K represents a vertical shift. So I just got done doing the K's vertical. Now pay attention here. These are the hardest. If H is positive, you're probably going to see it looking like this. X minus a positive H. That's what it's going to look like. You're going to see X minus a positive H. There is an invisible plus sign in front. That means we go right, H units. When h is negative, it's going to look like x minus the negative h, which turns into x plus h. You're going to see, nobody writes minus negative. Not really. We write it as a plus. So when you see the plus, it really meant the h was negative. So we go left h units.
Wait, sir.
Yes.
So they just put absolute value and just put it.
No, not really. I mean, it seems that way, but there's just h there that has a sign, and the formula is built in. The actual formula is always x minus x minus x minus. It's what happens to the h. You know, we're talking about what is this number? What is this number really? Is it positive or negative? If it's negative, it changes that minus just because of habit. If h is negative, that's when you're going to see it change to a positive. If h is already positive, it's going to stay this way. If h is a positive number, you're going to just see the minus. Okay? So you're looking at number one. Just describe the translations. What do you think now? There's not a parenthesis, so be careful. Don't connect the plus to the x. That's it.
I'm a genius.
Up 2 units. Because k is 2, right? Good job. Who was the genius? Caleb was? Shout out to Caleb then.
Yeah.
I finally actually paid attention.
Yep.
Screw you guys.
Now, look at number 2. What's happened? Lost the page. All right. Say it again. Yeah, k is a -1. Notice the tangent of x. You got to be careful when you key that in your calculator. Because when you press tangent, it's automatically going to have a parenthesis open and close. And if you're typing in x minus 1 in there, then you're actually doing the wrong translation. You got to do the x that's in parentheses, and then the -1 goes out. So that means he said it went down 1. And he's on fire. He was absolutely right. So you have an up, you have an up, you have a down. Now, what's happening here? What is h? If I ask you, what is h? But is it positive or negative? H is a negative pi over 2. It's built in. Remember? A negative. Come on, don't argue with me here.
Punch it. Trust me, sir. It is everything.
No, yeah, okay. Maybe it'll get afraid that I will. Let's see. No, it's just takes a second because there's sometimes it does this. Wait, maybe it's my pencil. Nope, it's not my pencil. Oh, there it goes. There's a minus pi over 2 there. So h is negative. So what does that mean? Up, down, left, or right?
Down. No way. Up.
Left.
I think you're wrong.
H is negative. Goes left. That's called a phase shift. When you go left and right, it's a phase shift. Pi over 2. Remember this. When you see a plus, it goes left. Burn that in your brain. I know we only have a lecture and a half of this stuff, but still.
Wait, so can you go back?
Sure.
Do you remember?
That's a good song. Number 4. What's happening there? What is H now? What is H? Is it a negative pi? It's a positive pi. Because it looks like this. minus a positive pi. And minus of a positive just turns into a minus. Which means what? Right. Right pi units. You guys should be paying attention closer than that.
Easy.
Trust me, all your talking doesn't help you sink anything in. So the shifting a graph vertically will create a new horizontal axis. Okay, our horizontal axis yesterday was always here at y equals to 0. Always. It has a name besides the x-axis. It was called midline. It's a midline. But I just called it the x-axis because it was cutting it in the middle. When you got your amplitude, didn't we count up 1, down 1, or up 3, down 3? We always counted it from 0. Well, what if we're counting it from, let's see, I don't know what that number is. I'll let you figure it out. There's my new midline. New midline. And the equation of that midline is what? How many? It's y equals to 4. Is my new midline. Well, actually, I didn't notice that she wrote this here. There was a plus 0. Now there's a plus 4. That means your midline went up. So when you count your amplitude, if your amplitude is 1, you got to count 1 from the midline and down 1 from the midline. So you got to be that's important. So your reference is still an axis. You still draw the axis, try to make it stand out so that you can count up and down. The equation of the midline will always be y equals to k. Whatever k was, whatever this number on the outside is the equation of your midline. All right. Let's see. Let's do a couple tough problems. All right. Let's see. What can I identify over here? Let's go through the alphabet. We'll label the A, the B, the C, and the D. In other words, if I was to look at everything up here, I have just when I say A, B, C, and D, it's 4 things. I called A. I can call this the B. And I used to just call this the C and call this the D. However, we call it the H and the K in pre-cal class. If I don't use somebody else's notes and I make my own notes, I would just do A, B, C, and D and never bother with H and Ks. But the reason that H and Ks are used is because they're used in the quadratics, they're used in the exponentials, they're used in every function you could possibly do. Square root functions. So H and K is what we're going to address. So if I look at the first one, all right, come on now, be nice. Is there an A? I like to use a capital A anyway. Is there an A? 3/2. What's the B? Someone said X. I want the number in front of the X.
3 over 2.
1. 3 over 2 is already the amplitude. Is there a horizontal number? None. Well, actually, it's 0. You can say none. Is there a K?
Yes.
What is it? Positive 3. So now knowing that, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. Caleb, draw my new midline. And I'm going to go from there to look at my amplitude, 3 over 2. How big is 3 over 2 if I need to really know? 1 and 1/2. Okay, so that would mean if I start with 3, I got to go past the 4 to the middle, right? Right?
That sounds a lot like a cellular device falling.
Or calculator.
No, a calculator has more of a plasticky sense. This is more dense. Like,
Could very well be. I didn't pay attention to who did it.
cellular device. I think I have a pretty penny of an idea of who it was.
So that's how high it's going to go. Go down 1.5. Might be the same person I already got after. No? There you go. See, now there's my maximum height, my maximum lows. And since there was no phase shift, guys, this is the phase shift. It doesn't have one. It doesn't go left and right. So there, whatever I do with sine, I'll do the same thing. It's a positive sign. It starts in the center. Sorry, I lost it. And it ends in 2 pi, since b was yeah, I should have said this to you. Once you know b, what's the period? And it's 2 pi divided by 1, which is 2 pi. So I should have done that one too. Once we look at b, we ought to naturally ask ourselves, what's my period? That way I can go over here and say, if I start over here at 0, it's going to end at 2 pi exactly in the middle as well. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That's where it, and then I divide this up into 4, which I didn't see a lot of you doing this on that assignment. I'm not sure. I saw the people who got good grades, they were doing it. And the other people didn't get the best of grades because they didn't divide it into 4. They were always off somewhere in there. This was an easy one to divide by 4 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units in there. So it's easy to say every 2 units is a fourth of it. All right, it's just a regular sign. Start in the middle, go up to the top, come down to the middle, go to the bottom, go to the midline again. And then you make a smooth curve. No teepees. The other side is just a mirror image, exactly. So I know at negative 2 pi is where it's going to end. I know in pi was the middle of it, negative pi I mean. Then I cut those each in half every 2 units. That way I can either start from here and say, as I continue this pattern, it has to go all the way to the bottom, go to the midpoint, go up to the top. Go. Either way, it's the same picture. That's not a very good. No teepees allowed. Let me try to make it better. That's not good either.
It's what Indians use, Aiden. I didn't know you were culturally insensitive.
Oh, okay. Moving on. Let's name. I named everything over here. That's my scratch work. Let's put it over here. What was my amplitude again? Nobody heard the question?
What is your amplitude?
Yeah.
3 over 2.
3 over 2.
Good job, Aiden.
What was my period?
1,
No.
3.
Was what?
2 pi.
2 pi. I did the work over there. I labeled it. What's my phase shift, left or right? None. What was my vertical shift? Positive what? Positive 3. What was my midline? Y equals to what? 3. Yeah, y was 3.
So you're going to do the math.
Sorry, yeah. Say it again.
You're going to do the math if you
You want to see the map, sir? The
don't mind.
graph. The graph. You want to see the graph?
No, I would grab the math.
There's no map.
There is.
Now, for third period on Friday, I said I was going to skip tangent first because it always takes a little more thinking for tangents. So we're going to jump, we'll come back to it. Let's get a couple of these regular sine sweat bullets together. Try to get this done. Now, let me remind you, don't write this down. This is what it was. If the period, since my b is a 1, my period is pi divided by b. In this case, pi divided by 1, which is pi. What does that mean? It means your normal tangent starts here at the 0. And then the new one ends in pi, so there's another dot at pi. Then there's another dot at 2 pi. Then I go left. So let me just look at those right now. Those dots have to move. Those dots are going to have to move because I see right now, I see my h is a negative pi over 2, which means left pi over 2. Those dots are going to have to be moved over 2 places, each one of them. Don't copy this down. I'm just showing you. That's where those dots are going to be. Now, the old graph, between the dots have what? What's between the dots? No. Well, there is. Tell me what kind of line that's called. That's called a what? No, it's not. You don't see it. It's the asymptotes. Between the dots are the asymptotes. Well, guess what? Those asymptotes have to move to the right 2 spaces as well. See that? Hello? So here's what's happening. Everywhere that I would have normally had an asymptote, I'll have a point. Everywhere that I have a point will become an asymptote. All right, let's do it. Oh, left. All right, my dots aren't gone. Let me erase them. I thought they'd be erased. Okay. Let's go back and look at it. Does this thing go up or down? So H is 0. K is 0. So it doesn't go up or down. The only thing this does, it goes left pi over 2. All right, so here goes. Here's how I'm going to do it. I normally put a dot at 0, 0, but instead it's going to shift pi over 2. So there's a dot here. Then there's a dot pi over 2 again. No, wait. What's my period? Pi, I'm sorry. Pi. Go 4 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Technically, there's another dot over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going pi. All I'm doing is separate them by pi's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Technically, there's another one there. Why are we talking nonstop? Between the dots are asymptotes. So at the very beginning, I can see that that's an asymptote. So I go to the dot, count 2 over, 1, 2. That'll be an asymptote. Go to the dot, count 2 over, 1, 2. So all I care about is there's an asymptote here. I'm not going to get another dot really in the picture. Go to the dot, count left 2, 1, 2. That's an asymptote. Go to this dot, count 2, 1, 2. There's that asymptote. So you will notice that every asymptote is 4 units apart because that adds up to pi. Every dot is 4 units apart. Now, remember, this is just a positive tangent. So I go to my first dot. It comes from the where? Do you remember?
If you don't mind me asking, why is the one on the left always to the left?
Why is the one on the left what? I don't, no, it's shifted. Even, I mean, the asymptote? Good point. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, I'm off. Good catch, Aiden. Good catch, Aiden.
Yeah.
Very good. I mean, that's awesome. Is that dot off?
Yes.
The dot was off too?
Very.
Oh, yeah, the dot was off too. 1, 2. That was supposed to be here. All right. Thank you very, very, very much. All right. So go to this. Remember, as we go towards this point, we're coming up from the bottom. So technically, it's going down forever. It rides the asymptote, then it smooths over, makes a little tiny S, but I'm going to go and find the S. There it is. At every dot, that's what I got to do. From the bottom, put an arrow there. It's going from the bottom forever. Up, up, up. Go towards the point. Curve it up to that asymptote. All the best you can do here is, the only picture you're going to have here is this. That's it. Not even technically, you wouldn't even have that part in the graph. It would actually be stopped right here. You wouldn't even see that in that grid. But since I drew the dot, I'm going to keep it. Backwards. Here goes. From the bottom on up. From the bottom on up. Please don't touch the asymptote. Some people were doing crazy, doing this. They were doing this. Like that. Obviously, I'm going to count it wrong. You can't cross the asymptote. That meant they had no idea. Again, did they have the dotted lines? No. If you didn't have the dotted lines, you're going to probably cross over it. Then for this one, all you're going to see probably is, I'll pretend, up, 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 up. Whoop. You might see that. Whew, that was hard. Questions? Yes. What's my amplitude? A lot of people lost points on this. What's my amplitude?
That's the one I can't remember. This is the only one.
No. It's not 1. It may look like a 1. No. You forgot. None. Tangent doesn't have a maximum height or maximum low. All right. A lot of people got that wrong. I had to take off 2 points for every time they had a pretty beautiful graph, but then they said the amplitude was a 2. What's my period? Pi. What was my phase shift?
2.
Was it right or left?
Left.
Then it was negative pi over 2 means left
I was so close.
pi over 2. Are you sure?
Super.
Wait, check.
Well, my thing, there it is. It is left pi over 2. Did it shift up or down? Isn't the midline still at the x-axis?
Yes, sir, so it did not shift at all.
None. Because k was a 0. So therefore, my midline is y equals to 0. All right. So now I feel okay. Oh, I'm sorry. On which part?
The amplitude period stuff.
Here's my logic. I did all of the sines and cosines. I now did a tangent. I feel like in real life, that's pretty good for most average person. Let's see if we can sneak out one more tangent. Yeah, we got time. Ready?
I say we sneak out.
Number 2.
Number 2 is going down 1 minus. So.
Going down 1, that's right.
Oh, big
34? Oh, I thought you were somebody else. Sorry. Please let you in. I didn't even pay attention. Do they hear? No, he's asking. I thought that was. All right, where did it go? Void's in. Let's do 7. And there's my scratch work. I'm going to talk about what my A is.
Oh, my shit's bleeding through
4. What's my B? 2/3. Just FYI, guys, the B is factored out. It is very possible to get your trig function with B not factored out. That would be a 2/3 x minus 2 pi over 3 plus 1. If you see it like that, then you have to say, oh, that number in front of the x is my B, because I have to pull it out. And if I pull it out, there is your phase shift right there. This is not the phase shift because the B wasn't factored out. FYI, we're doing you a favor. We factored it out for you. But it could very well possible that you see one that is not. All right, so B is 2/3. And what was my H? That's my phase shift. How much? Positive or negative? Positive pi. That means we know it's going to go what? Left or right? Right, how far? Pi. What's my K? It's a 1. Okay. Knowing all of that information, let me do my up and down first, okay? K is a 1. Then up 1 is my new midline. And if my amplitude is 2/3, oh, brother. No, amplitude is 4. 4 from where? From the 1. Oh, why did I erase it? I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 plus 4 is 5. Questions on that? 1 minus 4 is how much? A what? Negative 3. 1, 2, 3. It's down here. Wait, messed up. It's got to go down 4. Sorry, your answer was negative 3. You were the ones that said it was negative 3. And I counted down 3. There it is. There's the lowest it can go. Now, the next thing I do is, where's it going to start? I like to always talk about my first vertical line is where it starts. Yes. Let's finish this problem first. And then at least you have enough under your tool belt to get some problems done. That has to do with my H. What was my H? What does that mean? Pi to the what? To the right. So it's going to start. Here's my starting place. That's where it starts. Where is it going to end up? What's my period? I forgot to do the period again. What's my period? 2 pi divided by how much? 2/3. Who can do that in their head? Somebody can. 2 times 3 is what? 6 divided by 2 is what? 3 pi. This is exactly in the homework page that I gave back to you. You had the same period. Most people had the answer. 3 pi. So I've got to start there, and I've got to move 3 pi over. Unfortunately, I only have 1 pi left. So in a sense, I'm only doing 1/3 when I get there. So I'm gonna ignore it for right now. Since I don't have 3 pi to the right, let me go to the left 3 pi. Here's negative 1 pi. Here's a negative 2 pi. There'd be my negative 3 pi. This would be a better place to start it. I can pretend I start over here instead of over here. It technically starts here in my mind. Was it a sine or it was a cosine? It's going to start at the top unless it's negative. It's not. It's going to start, it would start up here, but I don't have very much to go to the right. So I went 3 pi backwards so that I could get a nice, pretty picture. It should end here. It should end there. So I got to take that amount and I got to cut it in half. And I'm just like you. I don't know where it is. I got to count how many units that I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So what's half of 12? So let me count 6 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll be half. Well, what's half of 6? I'll count 3 then. 1, 2, 3. There's 1/4 of it. Go from the other one that I just did. Count 3. 1, 2, 3. Go 1/4 of it. Does it match up? 1, 2, 3 for the last. I have all my vertical lines to help me do a good graph. A lot of you didn't do that on your paper. Maybe you think it's too much work. But I think your scores would have been higher if you'd have done the extra work. So cosine, that's positive, starts at the top. Well, I already told you that. Starts here. And it's going to finish up there. And you know, as I go to the next vertical line, it goes down to the middle. The next vertical line goes where? Down to the what? Down how far though? Bottom. Then it starts coming back up at the next vertical line to the middle. Then it goes to the top. So remember what's coming. This is really a curve, guys. It's a curve coming up. Then it's going to curve down to here. Then it does this crazy change of how it's concavity. It actually changes it a little bit. Goes through here. Then it sort of has to turn the other kind of like direction to go there. I could do better. If I was doing this in pen on my paper, oh my God, my paper would be so messy.
What's that? Wake up.
Who?
Yeah, I'm talking to voices in my head.
There. So if I want to use the rest of 2 pi, all the way to 2 pi, can you tell that it's only going to go down to the middle? And that way I've used up the whole area. Welcome. You might have a paper or something there on the desk. Also, who else came in late? If you came in late, there might be some papers there. All right, now, we did all the work. I've got a lot of information on the left. That was my workspace. But now I'm going to at least put it in a format so I can look for it again. What was the amplitude of this problem? We had the same effect the last time. 4, okay. And the period? It was 3 pi once we finally got it all worked out, right? That was the problem that I had. I only had 1 pi from the beginning where I normally would have started it. 1 pi, but I needed 3. This is like 1 pi, 2 pi. Now I got the 3 pi altogether. I have all 3 pi there. Phase shift. Usually you say a left or a right. It helps. What was the phase shift? Say it again. Right pi. Vertical shift? Up what? Up 1. You sure it was only up 1? Where was it? Up how much? Oh, it was up 1. You're right. Why am I questioning you? And what was the equation for the midline? K is what? Or Y is what? Y is 1. So those two answers will be the same. Up 1 means Y is equal to 1. That's where it went. Questions on that? We have done 2 very good problems that in reality, if you were to go to a YouTube video and find a person who just teaches it, they're going to give you just 2 or 3. And you're supposed to say, I take the notes, I write down what they say, I try to build it in my brain. You're not always going to get 10 examples. So if you get more than this, you should be blessed. Right now, I'm going to skip over 8 because I want to come back to the tangent, because tangent makes me think as well. I have to think of, well, where does it really normally start? Where are the asymptotes? And when I go left and right, all of that changes. It gets kind of confusing, even for me. Let's do 9. 9's a regular sine curve. It's not negative, so it's not upside down. So what's my amplitude?
3.
What's my B?
4.
It's already factored out. You can imagine what would happen if they gave it to you the other way. Would you have understood it if it said 3 sine of 4x minus 2 pi? That's how, if you were in the AP Precal, that's how they'd give it to you. Right? I mean, they would only talk about the B on the outside 1 or 2 times. Yes. Yes. 1 or 2 times. Then the rest is like this, and you got to go, oh, I got to factor out the 4. So if I factor out a 4 out of 2 pi, I got to ask myself, 2 pi divided into 4 must be half a pi. So it's harder, guys. It's harder if they don't factor it out. So let me go and be smart this time. If my B is 4, what's my period? 2 pi divided by 4 is 9 o'clock. What's 2 pi divided by 4?
1. Oh, just pi.
Nope.
Well, I tried. Oh, 1 over 2.
Pi over 2, yes. Just a coincidence that my H is it a positive or negative pi over 2?
Positive.
It's positive pi over 2. That negative stays as part of the equation. Therefore, that's the only thing that's my H. That means it's going to go right. If you see just a minus, it goes right pi over 2. That's my phase shift. In case a problem asks you, what's the phase shift? They mean, what are you doing? Left or right? How much? That's your phase shift. What's my K? What is K? Is it a 2? Negative 2. What does that mean? What does it mean?
Left.
Down. Thank you, Brianna. Down 2. Okay, let's go back and let's see how would I start setting this thing up.
Wait.
Yes.
No, I messed up. My bad.
No, maybe I did.
No, you're right. Don't worry.
Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to graph my midline in a dark color so that we see it separately from the x-axis. And you told me that we went down 2, so my midline must be 0 minus 2 must be down here. I'm not even going to make it dotted. I'm literally just going to make this midline pretty. Oh, what happened to stop writing on me?
Wait, sir,
Da-
that's 2.
Down 2.
Oh, wait, my bad.
That's a negative 2. Then I say, my next thing, I'll look at my amplitude. What's my amplitude, you said? 3. So I go to my midline, and I'm going to count up 3. 1, 2, 3. That's my top. Correct me if I'm wrong. Go back to my midline, the blue one. Go down 3. 1, 2, 3. That's the lowest it can go. You know, some people, when I was grading the papers, didn't even go up to the top. They drew this graph, they did this, you know, they go, oh, like that. They almost get down there. I don't understand how you don't go up to the top where you know the top was. So anyway, technically it starts where? My phase shift. What's my phase shift? Which way?
Right.
So I got to take this. Normally I want to start at 0. Let me erase those dots there. I was just counting up. Shouldn't have counted them up like that. Well, I mean, it would have been okay. So I got to count to the right. You said pi over 2, right? Is that what you said? Where's pi over 2 at? It's 2 units on this graph paper. Every unit is pi over 4. Therefore, 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4 means a pi over 2. There. It's going to start there. That's where it's going to start. I should go all the way down too. That way I know my top and bottom. And the period is how long? What's the period? What's the period? Pi over 2. I'm supposed to finish this in pi over 2 distance. How many tick marks over is that? 2.
Come on, guys, be smarter.
This whole thing finishes there. That means every 2 tick marks, it starts over again. Let me do the first one, though. It's going to be kind of hard. It's a sine curve. It's a regular sine curve. Once you look at that rectangle here, you don't care about the numbers anymore. I just know I got to divide this into 4 pieces. I need a little bit of luck. There's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll make it darker if you need to see it a little darker. I cut this one in half. I cut this one in half. So that way I can see it's going to be a very compressed sine curve. This is called the horizontal shrink. I'm getting it all done in 2 tick marks. It is crazy. And it's a regular sine, so here goes. Here goes. I start in the midline. Where do I go? Which way do I go? Right or left? How high or how low? All the way up. Then all the way to the midline again. You see how I'm on that? I cut that thing in half. You see that? Where does my last... Wait, I messed up.
Yeah, you put it on the other line.
I know. I'm glad you see it, though. I'd love to say that I did it on purpose, Aiden, to see if you were paying attention. But I'd have been lying. You know what happens if you lie. All right, so then I go down here, back up to here. So that whole sine curve is being squished in here. All right, here goes. Up, try to make it a curve. Down, try to make it a curve there. Wow. That's crazy. 07. Yes. So there's one period. And technically, if a person just gave me that one period, I wouldn't even take it off any points. I will from now on, but for that assignment, I would have said, okay, they understood where it started, where it ended, but I might have made some marks. I might have done this. I might have said, I need another 2. Another 2 takes me to 2 pi. Go left. At the 0 is 2 left. Go left, 2, left, 2, left, 2, and then negative 2 pi. So theoretically, it's going to be really a pain to do all those, cut them in halves. Let's see if I can do one without even cutting it in half. You tell me if I pass the test. I know I start here. I'm going to go in the middle of the block at the top, come back down to the midline, go all the way to the bottom in the middle of the unit, back up to the midline. And so it's going to look like up, down, boom. How does that look without drawing the lines? Did I accomplish it?
Yeah.
For me, I think I did pretty good. It's kind of hard not to be pointy.
Wait, so you drew a TP at the bottom?
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard not to when it's so steep. It's so stretched in a way.
You can zoom in, sir. You can fix it.
Oh my goodness, guys. That's not fair though, because you guys can't do that.
I require perfection from my teacher.
No, don't do that. I will fail you every time.
No, sir. You're perfect. There you go. That's the spaghetti I was looking for.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Got one of them there. All right, continue. Up in the middle, down to the midline, down to the bottom middle, ended at negative pi. Up. Do it again. Middle, midline, bottom. Just got 2 more to go. Middle, midline, bottom middle. I find if I don't think about it, I can probably do it better, but. Oh, I didn't have a dot. That's what I get. I didn't put a dot, but. Good enough. Oh, I got to finish the other side. Oh, the pressure's on.
We have to finish the other side with you, sir.
Well, I'm doing it. Okay, good enough. Shoo. So since it's so compressed, you have a whole bunch of pictures there. Oh, come on. Where's your challenge? What's the asymptote, did we say? No, I mean, sorry, the amplitude? Amplitude? Was it 3? What was the phase shift? Come on. What's a phase shift? Why is it not writing? What's the phase shift? Or period, I'm sorry, the period was pi over 2. What's the phase shift? Right. I'm going to go right. If you said plus, I get it. Vertical shift? Down 2.
Sir, I have a relic of the past.
And K is what? Was my midline. Hold on. K is what? Negative 2. Okay. Yes.
I have a Peter Piper's token.
What do you mean relic? They don't do it anymore?
No, it's a relic of the past.
Oh, really? Cards now? Even them? You got to use a card?
Yep, limited because it's cheaper.
That's bad. We're indoctrinating our kids to use credit cards.
Because they're cheaper and you don't think too much about it whenever you're scanning a card. Along with it, you can't really cheat the card.
Yeah, I see that. Last one on this side that I'll do right now is the cosine. And at least it's not negative, so they didn't flip any of these upside down. I'm kind of glad. Gets really hairy when they're flipped upside down too. Is the pass back? Go ahead. Who was the last one that went? Okay. What's my amplitude on number 10? What's my A? Caleb? I need your help. What's my A?
Your A is 3.
Nope.
Oh, 2,
Nope.
1,
1. What's my B?
4,
No.
2.
Yes. Therefore, what's my period? 9, 12. Yeah, it's going to be 2 pi divided by 2 is 1 pi. Nice job. What's my phase shift, my H? Positive or negative? Say it again. Negative 3 pi over 4, which means I'm going to the left. Notice there's a plus sign. I go left because H is really negative. What's my K? Which means up 4 for the midline. Okay, so I'm going to go up. I'm going to...
Hey, start to back. You're so fast, so please slow down a little bit. Is this into this 3 pi?
Where?
Your wife.
3 pi over 4.
how's your wife?
Wait, sir, why are we going to the board? What's next to it?
3 pi over 4.
Where's the honey girl at?
What's next to it, sir?
What's that?
What's next to the 3 pi over 4?
Left. That means we're going left. Okay, so find my K. My K was a 4. So I go up to 4. There's my new midline. Where does it start? It starts left, negative 3 pi over 4. Every tick mark is a pi over 4. Think about it. 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4. That's a negative pi. So every one tick mark is a pi over 4. So it's going to start back here. Oh, I forgot to make I didn't go up. What's my amplitude? What's my amplitude? A 1. So oh my goodness. It's going to be all squished into this.
Sir, how are we going to do this?
You know what else can be done?
Well, it's got to go up 1. It'll go all the way down 1. It's going to be really tiny.
Very tiny. I don't think we can do that on paper.
Well, I already have the starting value right here. What's my period? Guys, quit talking. What's the period?
4.
No, it's not. Pi. So pi is 4 tick marks from where I am at. 4 tick marks, because every one is a 4th. So pi is 4 of the tick marks. 1, 2, 3, 4. My first picture is going to stop here. Let's worry about that one picture first. It is a cosine. What do I know about cosine that's not upside down? It starts at the top. In one tick mark, it's going to go to the middle. Because if I divide this into 4, guys, there's already 4 equal pieces. The next tick mark goes all the way to the bottom. The third tick mark goes back up to the midline. The fourth tick mark goes up to the very top. Here's how it looks. There's your first period.
What's the number?
17. Y'all have that? Caleb, you have that first picture? Aiden, you have this first picture? So that means every 4 tick marks, it repeats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can get 3 more pictures. Starts at the top, goes to the middle, goes to the bottom, goes to the midline again, goes to the top. Next one, down to the midline, down to the bottom, back up midline, up to the top. There it is. This was not so bad. It'd be bad if I was doing it on your desk with that little tiny paper. Caleb, finish filling this in. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's going to end here. It's going to end there. So I go down, down, up, up. Okay. So since I only have 2, then I know it's going to go down, down here. That's how it's going to look. And I filled it all in. Those lines are important to do these by hand. If you're not doing them, to me, it's so much harder to pay attention to where something begins and where it ends. Where's the middle? Where's the middle of the middle? All those things. Doing these makes the page you got back today a piece of cake compared to these.
You know, so a little kid at work guessed that I was 25.
That's crazy.
All right. What's my amplitude on this one again? Was a 1? What was my period? How much? Pi. Did I really go pi?
Yeah.
Oh, did I do it right?
You didn't teach him it?
Oh yeah, I did pi. Yeah, the period was pi. 1, 2, 3, 4 tick marks. That's right. Okay. Phase shift was left, wasn't it?
Yes.
3 pi over 4. That means I started my very first picture. 3 pi over the 4 to the left. Yep, there it is. And vertical shift was up or down?
Down.
You sure?
Up 4.
Up 4. What's the equation of my midline?
3, 4.
K. Use y though. Y equals 2,
Knew it.
4. Because this, K is 4 is also true, but I'm talking about if I was to graph it. All right, so the last one's a tangent. So there's left 2 tangents we haven't done and 1 on the other side. So we're going to, all right, what's happening here? What's different about number 8? Yeah, it has a B. What's my amplitude? What's my amplitude? My amplitude is 2? None. What's my B? What's my B? I'll just go fast on my own and get them both done. No. Just a 2. So my period is pi divided by B. Pi divided by 2. So that's where my period is. It's going to take that long to finish between the 2 asymptotes. There's 90 degrees. Between the 2 points, it's 90 degrees. What's my H? My phase shift.
Pi over 4.
Left or right?
Right.
No. My H is a negative pi over 4.
Just a blanket no.
It goes left pi over 4. What's my K? Minus 3. What does that mean? Down 3. Let me handle that first. Down 3 is my midline. 1, 2, 3. There's my midline. Can you grab it this time? What's my starting place? Left Left pi over 4. That's where a dot goes, guys. How big's pi over 4? How many tick marks? 1 tick mark left. There's a dot. There's a dot. And what was my period?
It was 4.
Pi over 2. How many tick marks is that? How many? 2. So 1, 2, there's a dot. 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 And there's technically 1 at the end of 2 pi. I'll put it there just for cosmetics. Go left. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. What goes in between? What goes in between the dots? Gentlemen, face the front, answer my question. What goes in between the dots?
Lines, imaginary lines.
The imaginary lines. I would suggest you do it. Whoa, what happened to you? Caleb, get writing, please.
Dropping bars here.
The motherfucker was right. This shit was
Right there. Probably next to you, Bob.
Let's turn it on the stove.
I'm gonna go to the party, turn on the gas stove.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if I still ended up on the two. Okay, so is it a negative tangent or positive tangent?
There you
Oh, you know what? Those dots are in the wrong.
go.
The dots shouldn't be on there, should they? The dots should be
On the lines. Yeah, because
should be on the red line, right? Darn it.
I knew it.
It's okay, Mr. Cartwright, we don't always win.
Okay, black.
oh my god, there's so many mistakes.
Dot. Dot. Dot.
Sorry, I wrote this in pen.
No, you did, you lied.
Well, you know,
Oh my.
what I tell you about doing this kind of stuff in pen,
For fucking what, dude?
language.
It was. I don't give a fuck what it was.
I'm sorry.
You know, probably because I had to spend time telling you guys to draw those lines and. All right. So remember, this thing shifted down 3, right? So at those dots, it's a positive tangent. I think someone said it's positive. So I'm going to go from the bottom on up. As soon as it starts to. Come on. There it is. All right. I was waiting for it to. So I go ride the asymptote, go to the dot. My dot should have been on. That dot's terrible. Should have put the dot on the line. My iPad is like glitching because it's got so much in that file now.
Low on battery.
No, it's just there. It's just that it's got a lot on that. Every slide has some recordings and stuff, so it just. I might be getting low on space. All right.
Delete the old files.
Next week. Now it looks like there's more on the top because the graph, it's coming from the bottom and curving at that dot. I got a lot more room for the top than I do for the bottom. left side, let's see, would there be an X? That's pretty good, I think. If I was to do anything over here, I'm not going to do anything on that part, so. Oof. Okay, give me the amplitude again. None. Period.
Period.
Was pi, was it? Pi over 2. It'll write in a second. Phase shift. Was it positive or negative? Was negative, right? Because we went left, right? Negative what? Pi over 4. That was left. Vertical shift. Did it go up or down? Down how many? Down to 3, because k was a negative 3. Equation, y equals to negative 3. That's the middle right there.
Sir, is midline vertical shift always going to be the same number?
Yes, it will.
I think that's important to.
Okay.
Sir, can you zoom in?
Which-
I can barely see anything. By barely, I mean it's William, you can't see anything. Let me get glasses.
One more.
No, that's not even his prescription.
Hey, relinquish here, sir.
You ready? Well, Caleb asked me to zoom in. He's not even doing it. All right. What's happening here? What's my amplitude? What's my amplitude?
What number is that? 11?
It's the last one on the page, 11. No, there's none. That just means a vertical stretch. That's all it means. What's my B? What's my period? What's pi divided by a half? No. You're dividing by a half, not multiplying by it. No. It's 2 pi. Pi divided by a half means you flip the half. Okay, what's my H, my phase shift? Nope.
X.
I can tell you've not learned anything. In 2 days of lectures, it's pi, but is it positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative pi. It's going to shift left. It's going to go left pi. What's my K? 1. Positive 1. It's going to go up 1, right? So let me go up 1 and make my midline. This time I'll try to be faithful to it. That's where my dot's got to go. Where's my first dot going to go? Left pi over 4. Left pi over 4. So that's going to be, how many tick marks is pi over 4? 1. So I go left pi over 4. That's where it starts. What's the period?
It's 2 pi.
How many tick marks is a pi? 4. How many is 2 pi? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What goes in between those? What goes in between the dots?
More dots. Lines.
What kind of line?
Visible lines.
So go 4 in the middle. Go count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 would be way over here. You're not even going to see it. So here goes. Here it goes. Pay attention, guys. Caleb, pay attention. The last one. We know it's going to rise up from the asymptote. All you're going to see is whatever came up here is going to go like that. This one's coming from this asymptote That's to the dot, going up there. This one's coming from this asymptote through the point and up there. It'll actually be off the graph. There it is. Not much if you were only to look at what that grid is. Asymptote, none. Period was 2 pi. Every asymptote was 2 pi away, and every dot's 2 pi away. Phase shift, wasn't it left? Left how much? Pi? Is that what I wrote? Okay. Left,
Up one and the white you
left pi. Vertical shift,
up one.
up 1. Midline, y equals to 1.
And then not the extra.
Woof.
Finally.
Finally. Not yet. No, you haven't turned it in yet. You are going to do the odds. Odds. Take the notes with you. Take the notes with you. Do the odds. Just odds. Odds will get you 100.
The homework, I don't have to do it.
Two papers? Say no.
See you on Wednesday.
That's what they tell us, say no to drugs.
Your last notes, your last homework. What's that?
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
All right.
That is.
Close the door behind.
We're out, I guess.